Robert has knowledge right across the real estate industry, and having worked with Robert in the past, a genuine good guy who really knows his stuff. So it's great to have the opportunity to chat with you today, Robert.
Very kind words, Ailsa. Nice to see you again.
Yeah. I understand we've both just listened to Jacinda talking about what level 3, just a very a little entry into what we can expect with level 3 at this stage. But I just want to jump straight in, and because Robert is someone who's worked in real estate through previous tough times, the GFC, Christchurch earthquakes, and I'm sure you've had many other challenges in real estate as well over the years. I think it's really clear we need to adapt and change with the new business environment that's emerging. Obviously, what we've heard, social distancing will be with salespeople for a while yet. So I'm just wondering, what do you think the new real estate environment will look like going forward?
Sure, no, fair question. So yeah, to firstly address, have I dealt with tough times before? Originally, I was from Western Australia, and there was times gone by when the gold price went straight through the floor, and so suddenly people that had money didn't have money. Not so much overnight, but it definitely affected a large portion of the buyer and seller pool, which is kind of what I can see happening post-COVID. So I think we're going to come out in what we call a new norm as far as whether or not prices go up or down. I was on quite a large Zoom call yesterday throughout Australasia, and people speculating, and there's good arguments that prices will go up. There's good arguments that prices will come down, and I'm of the adage that we just don't know because we haven't been here before. I think we need to do responsible real estate going forward. Just prior to us going into level 4 and level 3, we're actually already, a lot of the companies that I deal with, already practicing, again, just responsible real estate in terms of not only auctions where you'd have social spacing, the hygiene. I remember turning up to properties where the agent wouldn't let you on site unless they actually gave you a quick dousing of hand sanitizer, which I thought was great. And even if people were just the neighbours, they'd all be part of that. So I think we need to be aware of the fact that when we come out of level 4 and level 3 and people start socialising again, there's probably going to be a little bit of trepidation with people being around other people again. And I know I possibly will fall into that category. The handshake is possibly something that we won't practice going forward for quite a while. So I think that real estate people, real estate agencies just need to be ready for the changes. I think that, the basics of having a great skill set, being empathetic, being good with your clients, as the sun just comes out now, by the way, and that wasn't some sort of beacon of light, it was just the sun. But all these things where you need them anyway. There's going to be an amount of technology. I mean, I'm sitting here at the moment also with GoPro cameras galore, and I'm learning all this technology that I feel that I will need going forward. The ability to obviously function on platforms, and maybe with agencies as well, whereby we've all been taught to get the buyers to eyeball each other, get the crowd together, get an emotional premium. Possibly we'll go back to previous methods where we've taken people through one by one through a property. And again, not that it's going to necessarily stop business, it's just going to be new business. And you've mentioned before about Christchurch and GFC, and when the stock market crashes, those individuals, those companies that can adapt very, very quickly, they're going to be head and shoulders above those that are still trying to do it the old way.
Yeah, in the Christchurch earthquake scenario, I think we were both working in a corporate environment at the time, and there was a huge move towards just reaching out to people and connecting, and I kind of see a similar thing happening here, that there's a lot more compassionate approach to from agents, and the way that they are communicating with people. I've seen some of their marketing is starting to change. They're rewriting their profiles and taking a more what I'd call the old consultative real estate approach, really understanding a person's situation and then providing a solution to that. And, do you see that as something that will stay moving forward? Or?
Well, it's funny. I know that both of us have got a background with training and coaching people. And, we've always said to people, we're in the people industry. I think this will come out very, very clearly going forward. In fact, I was on a call to some Australian agents this morning, whereby they're not locked down in the same way that we are here in New Zealand. But their messages to each other were all about tell people that you're happy to help them in any way you can, that if need be, you'll do their shopping, you'll pay their bills with their money, but you'll pay their bills. You'll go and walk their dogs, things like that. Because there's, people are in very different, sorry, I'll rephrase it. People are having very different experiences of lockdown. It's all well and good to say that, what we wouldn't give for a week at home without work. But when it's forced upon you for an extended period of time, then you quickly find out that obviously some people are not only by themselves, but they can get lonely. They miss that social interaction. And I think sometimes a real estate person can fill that void of just being there for them, not only in terms of pricing their house and getting a for sale sign out the front, but also just in terms of making sure that they're aware that they're not by themselves. We all enter the industry because we love people. And I think now's the time to obviously really show that to the public.
Yeah, we really saw that in Christchurch, didn't we, where the agents got a real community spirit, and they were doing food runs. They were, it was really humbling to see. And in a similar vein, I'm seeing those, and it's a lovely genuine approach. Those that don't have the genuine will drop.
I think not only helping those less fortunate, but it's just being able to give everything we possibly can. You just reminded me actually when the Kaikoura quakes hit, and there was a local real estate office that I saw in Blenheim, whereby they were trying to do everything they could in terms of not only food parcels, but also with, for example, helping the kids with their education. All of us, the last couple of days have found out our shortcomings as school teachers with having the kids learning from home and still going into level 3. I know that we personally have already made the decision as a family to keep our kids schooling from home. But, just anything you can possibly do just to help people, and not with, not from the point of view of, look, I'll scratch your back, you help mine, you scratch mine, but literally just paying it forward, just doing it unconditioned in any way we possibly can. And as we know, sometimes that's money, sometimes it's time.
Yeah, awesome. And the other aspect as well is that whole having to go online, and with face-to-face ain't going to happen. Really. So they bringing in the tools like we've seen virtual appraisals, and at Homes.co.nz we sent out 47 virtual appraisal requests just yesterday. So there's a huge need to embrace technology to be able to get your message out there. And we've talked about virtual tours and videography, and again adaptions to say for our site to enable those to upload easy. And this is going to go into the whole lead into the whole your expertise of auction.
That's fair. And I think that there's going to be people that will be nervous about going and viewing a property of someone they don't know. There's also going to be the trepidation of someone who's got their house on the market, or perhaps a tenant where the house that they're occupying is actually on the market for sale, and then having people invited on site where they really don't know where they are, what their bubble contains or anything like that at all. So the technology has to be there. We talked before about virtual tours and about floor plans almost being like an optional extra. I think now they become like the stable part of any marketing campaign. With auctions, I mean, everything that I've got here with me at the moment is all about being set up when we do come out. Again, not to necessarily make it a one-trick pony, but just having it in terms that we can offer when we do come out of level 4, level 3, that people can attend, but they can also attend in an absent sense, where they can be on the phone and they can bid. At the end of the day, our job as real estate people is to transact real estate, to get them a good result and give them a great experience. And I think with that we're at the cutting edge of that.
And are you bringing in the other technologies to enable auctions to run? Yeah.
Literally everything. I'm literally surrounded at the moment, Ailsa, by tripods. Where do I stop? I mean, my wife, we just had an anniversary, so I'm not giving it a plug at all, but she just gave me some wireless. Nothing says I love you like wireless. wireless microphones. But
Yeah.
these are all pieces of technology that, again, they're going to be a mainstay in business going forward.
Yeah.
We still want to transact real estate, but in an environment. If I can just say, Ailsa, they always say that when you're fishing, you put a bait on the hook that the fish wants, not what you want. And, if the public is saying that they want to transact, but without that social interaction, then we have to be able to.
Yeah. And the thing is that what I love about this environment is that you just got to step in and do it, don't you? You've got to, kids are walking behind, things will happen.
Well, my son is actually in the room right now, but he's actually tucked out on the floor so that he actually can't be seen during this conversation. So there we go. So case in point.
Yeah, and it just brings reality to the world, doesn't it? It's smooth operators, fantastic, but everybody's just got to step in and give it a go, and a real sense of getting in there. So what I'd like to know a bit more about is when you're dealing with sellers and buyers, we know that we're going to be transitioning slowly and forward out of level 4 and into level 3. What would you be advising agents to be doing now with their buyers and sellers, getting off Netflix and actually, having a plan with their buyers and sellers?
Well, I think the first thing in terms of getting off Netflix, I think that when we went into lockdown, we heard it was 4 weeks. So that's okay. We can get a bit of facial stubble and we can take our time and, keep the slippers on all day. But now that we're potentially faced with this time next week, being able to be a bit more flexible with what we can do compared to now. I think the penny has dropped with a lot of people that I've spoken to. They realize they need to get themselves sorted. So my suggestion would be touch base with all those people that were looking at buying and selling prior to the lockdown. If we look at it right now, the date today is the 16th of April, 2020. And we're faced that on the 22nd of April, we might then be let out. So 23rd of April, we can then sort of drive around a bit more, or not, or level 3, and we'll all sort of find that out in due course. But I think what I would be doing right now is I'd be approaching the people that were looking at selling throughout March and April and May, and just touching base with them, finding out where they're at, finding out what their plans are going forward. Same with buyers as well. Now we know that obviously there's going to be some job changes, some loss of jobs, some retrenchments that'll affect both seller pools and buyer pools as well. We know that the Kiwi saver value has gone down, so that's going to affect maybe some capacity for buyers to spend. But we also know that the banks have offered the 6-month mortgage holiday. Now again, that's a bit of a catch-22 because it doesn't stop the interest from accumulating or capitalizing. It just means that it puts off the payment of it. So we know that post-COVID won't just be for the next month or two. In my opinion, it will be the next 6 to 8 to 12 months. International borders, they're talking about still closing them, although they spoke about maybe relaxing a little bit the Trans-Tasman border, which would be good for me and my family, and you as well, Absolutely. So with all these things in mind, there's going to be changes to be made. There's going to be conversations to be had. So going back to your question, I'd be saying to agents right now, go back to the people that are on your database. This is very much going to highlight the strength of relationships that agents already have. Go back to the people that you've transacted with over the last 2 to 3 years, check in with them, find out where they're at, find out if their own circumstances have changed, and again, we're here to help if they require our help.
Yeah, and I can see the days of sellers not answering phones, not getting back. I'm sure they'd love a phone call now and have a good old yarn.
It's actually funny because of the value of FaceTime. Before, I was always, hands up. If I'm with someone, I never answer my telephone. So I probably wasn't the easiest person to get hold of. But now what I'm finding is that, I don't mind the phone call. I don't have the volume I was having before. And then also with any phone call, if I can see the person just like this, rather than just talk to them over the telephone, we enjoy this interaction. It's nice.
Yeah, huge amount of behaviour changes that have come so quickly, isn't
Absolutely.
it? And and so so just a couple of key things to get agents to focus on. If you had a session with a real estate agent in a few minutes, what would be, say, the 2 key things you'd be pushing for them to take action on?
Sure. I think my first thing would be to go back to all the pipeline, for want of better words, that was building over the last 3 to 4 months. Go back to that pipeline, the buyers and sellers, check in with them and find out where they're at. And then from there, my next suggestion would be to go back through, the word database, possibly not. If we just call it your community, just touch base with your community, find out where everyone is, find out how they've been affected. Because again, most people don't like talking about finances, but we know that at the moment, people might have financial reasons to sell it, as well as circumstantial. People upsizing, downsizing, pregnancies, all those sort of things. They'll be there, but on top of that, the financial side of things, most people don't like talking about it. But if you've got a good relationship, a good level of trust with your clients, they're more likely to open up. And so for me, it's all about touching base. Don't go for the hard sell. They don't want to know that you've listed and sold 10 houses in the last month. They don't want to know that. They want to know that you're there when they need you.
And that brings me to, what we were talking a bit about before, that we know that sellers and buyers are going to research an agent before they really get into conversation with them. So have a look at your online presence and perhaps maybe softening some of that wording that had been, I've sold, 30 houses in the last X.
No one cares.
Yeah, that's right. And it's and I've noticed that some have been starting to edit their online profiles, and I think it's a fantastic thing to do, to have that synergy in the message between in a real empathetic, engaging call, and then what they see online matches.
Yeah, I completely agree. What I like doing is on my social media, it's nice to be a voice. I don't want to say the word of certainty, but it's nice to be a voice when there's so much uncertainty around us that people can see that you're online. They can see a big smile from you, those sort of things. And it just comforts them as much as is possible at the moment. So maybe for an agent as well, just be that, say some nice things. I will say people love to know that you're actually a human being. And the number of posts I've seen over the last 4 weeks of DIY projects, of home cooking, of people being creative, of people spending time with their families and kids, getting out and going for a walk, smiling at neighbors, going on the bear hunt, and all these sort of things. People want to see that you're a human being. If they just see you as being the traditional, just real estate at all costs, I think those days for those people are very numbered.
Yeah. Awesome. Hey, Robert, it's been awesome catching up with you. I've really appreciated it. And, just say to people, if, Robert's caught your attention, do check him out, as we all do. We check everybody out online. So it's Robert Tulp at apolloauctions.co.nz.
Yeah, it's Robert at apolloauctions.co.nz.
Yep. Brilliant.
Absolutely. You're good. Happy to be of any help I can be, Ailsa.
Yeah, awesome. So it's been a really interesting chat. Stay safe. And have a great day ahead, and no doubt we'll be in touch. Yeah.
Sounds great. Look forward to it. Thanks, Ailsa.
Thanks, Robert.